What is up, guys? Doing another Iron Man stealth. This time I'm doing Election Day. Go ahead and run through my no assets. On this run I was able to utilize my Yakuza build a little bit. Or my Yakuza perk deck, I should say. The build didn't change, just the perk deck. So I'll go ahead and set myself on fire here so I can get a nice little speed boost.
That stings. Medic bag, anyone?
Day one was really straightforward. Of course, I just brought ECM jammers to kind of cover my escape and to cover me in case I got spotted on my way to the computer. In this first section, I'm just looking for the power boxes on the sides of the warehouses so I can know which one the computer is in without having to go in and check each warehouse individually. Save me a little bit of time. Tried to jump from one door to the other, didn't really work, so I just said, whatever, I'll just run across here. Just decided to YOLO it right here. Nobody saw anything, so that was nice. Didn't see a computer on the desk in the lower room.
Found one. Guard. Watch out. Guard.
Saw that the door was open on the upper part, so I didn't have to use an ECM jammer or my saw to get into it. Didn't quite see the computer in the lower room, so in the other lower room, I mean.
Guard. Guard.
So I had to go ahead and try to bolt it up. I was seen, so I just went ahead and covered myself with jammer. Computer was in this room. Of course, checking to see which of the 4 trucks breaks the order of Avalon, Kranich, Omni, and Hefty. So Avalon and Kranich appeared in order that they were supposed to. However, Hefty was the 3rd one to appear instead of Omni, which means that Omni was the truck in question. Burned those guys for good luck. Placed my next jammer, put the tag on Omni, and just got the heck out of Dodge. Did have to slightly worry about being shot up, even though I was in ICTV armor. These guys are also on 1 down, and 1 pistol shot pretty much wrecked half my armor. But I managed to saw open the gate before anything too terrible happened. So that was it for day 1. Nothing too crazy going on there. Pretty standard stuff. So as you can hear from the music change, there was a day 2 attempt that did not go so well prior to this one. Day 2 was... This run for day 2 was really interesting. So, I'm going to start by saying this. I essentially did day 2. And now, you notice I used the word essentially there. I got this really weird glitch that soft-locked the game as the heist progressed. So what happened is, I did the heist as per normal. I almost said as per usual. I had to catch myself. I had to do the heist as normal. You know, I hacked my 6 boxes, and I got some money bags, and I moved all the money bags out. But the escape wasn't proccing after even though I had hacked all 6 voting machines. So I went back into the warehouse, and I actually ended up hacking a few more voting machines. I think I ended up hacking a total of, I want to say like 9? 8 or 9, it was one of those 2. Practically opened every crate in the warehouse so far as I could tell, and I just really couldn't figure out what was going on. So I just sat in the escape for a few seconds and just kind of ran in and out from the warehouse and couldn't figure out what was going on. But the long story short of that is, I do get all the money bags moved into the van, and I did get all the machines hacked, and a few extra machines hacked, as a matter of fact, and I did it all in stealth. And I just wasn't quite sure what happened. So, now that little tidbit's out of the way, I'll just keep talking about what's going on here. So, of course, I'm just opening up these side crates, running in here, looking for a crowbar. Got one here. Pretty quick crowbar find, was happy about that. Also got a pretty quick first device.
When you're ready to kill democracy, start the hack. Make sure no one sees you.
Another machine over here. Or another crate. I shouldn't say machine because it wasn't a machine. It was just a crate. Checking around to make sure no guards were there. Had 2 crates in here. Kind of unfortunate that neither one was a machine, but that's alright. Storing the money bags there so the guards can't see them, obviously. I don't want to quite move them just yet. I don't want to open up the downstairs doors. That guard was far enough away that I figured he wouldn't hear my silent saw.
Found it. Camera over there. Guard, careful.
Of course, this is the extraordinarily fun part of stealth. Just sitting and waiting for guards to move. It's kind of rattling my fingers on the table, waiting for somebody to do something. Primarily the guard that was on the left needed him to move for me to be able to even be able to get out of the grate. Thankfully, he finally did move though. The guard up top almost saw me, but I was able to hide behind all these boxes while I got into the last crate, or last grate, so I could throw the money bag in there.
Watch out, guard.
Had to be careful of that guy that came over. Didn't want to start sawing and then have him see me as I was sawing. However, he kept continuing over that way.
Look out, camera.
Oop.
Guard, careful. Look out, guard.
Guard wasn't quite close enough yet to hear my saw, so I went ahead and got that one open. Another device. And another. I think that's 3 or 4 at this point, I can't quite remember. I opened my tab menu a second ago, but I didn't quite catch what it said in there. I figured this guy was probably going to see that machine, so I just went ahead and killed him anyway.
I don't know what happened. I might have hit the button without knowing it. Guard, careful. Guard.
Finally get my chance to work on this crate now. Another device in here. I believe this was device number 4. Managed to get hidden just before that guy saw me. Definitely didn't want to sprint across this area because of the numerous guards that can be kind of in the main part of here.
Look out, guard.
So I just decided to slowly crouch my way across. However, this guy still saw me.
See ya.
It was alright though. However, what I didn't know was that the door to my right was open. And so what you'll notice here is I keep my back to the guard so that he doesn't think me facing him is
Drop your gun.
was a hostile action, because sometimes guards will do that.
Body bag case.
So I was able to melee him and intimidate him down before he shot at me, which was relatively nice. Usually helps in these circumstances to, if a guard sees you from afar and you don't want him to shoot at you, either hide behind an object and wait for him to approach you, or keep your back to the guard and approach him that way. You just have to be careful that it doesn't handcuff you while you're behind him. Trying to act fast here so I can get these two guys bagged. Yet another device. I had noticed at this point that Bane wasn't making any callouts when I was finding these devices, which I'm sure would have been a small indicator that some sort of weird glitch was happening. Again, I don't know what had caused it, but yeah, the game just ends up soft locking. Wanted this guard to leave because he was within my sixth sense range, so of course he was also going to hear my silence off. I started rattling it off. So instead of waiting for him, I just went down to the other end. Missed my first 2 or 3 saw swipes there.
Found one.
Wasted a bit of ammo, but that's okay. Making sure he hadn't waltzed over on top of me so he wouldn't hear me sawing from below.
Found it.
Last device, or so I thought. Opening these last 2 cages so that I can try to find any remaining money bags. I just opened this crate by instinct just because I saw it and I was like, oh wait, I don't need that. Had just enough ammo to open this last thing up, which contained 2 money bags. Which I am packing ammo bags secondary as my deployable. But I managed to get through all of the cages without needing to hit the ammo bags. That was nice.
Guard, careful.
Blue cop out here. Pretty sure he was just going to be stationary, so just ran out here and decided to give him a friendly high five.
No hands where I can see him.
He was not enthused. Of course, given the number of guards I had killed at this point, I knew that well, yeah, Bane just said it. I knew more security was going to be on the way. This is when I noticed that something fishy was going on. Because I looked and I had all 6 objectives in my thing, and I had counted, and I had in fact gotten all 6 things, but the escape wasn't triggering and the truck wasn't opening. So I thought that was a little strange. Maybe I had miscounted, maybe my HUD was inaccurate for whatever reason, even though MUI doesn't really change the actual HUD all that much, it just changes the style of it. Pocohud is what does most of the actual HUD changing features, but I figured maybe it was something that happened there. So I thought, well, maybe if I start, closing these, because closing them doesn't have any impact on whether or not they get detected or not, and they never have, even though Bane says that they'll be seen if you don't close them back up. It has no impact whatsoever. I mean, guards will see them while they're hacking, but post-hack, it doesn't matter if they're open or closed.
Guard.
I was worried that blue cop was going to see me. However, he would turn and start seeing me, and then turn his head at the last second. And then he'd turn his head again, and so on and so forth. But I managed to get back in before he saw me, so. Again, I'm trying to follow my idea of, well, maybe if I just close the ones I hacked back up, maybe it'll work. I wasn't quite sure what to do at this point. I'd never had this happen before.
Camera. Drop it.
Did get caught by that guard as I was coming out. That's okay. I pretty much figured this run was toast at this point anyway, since the escape wasn't triggering and all this stuff. So, ultimately I did decide to keep this run though, because, like I said, effectively I had it. And it wasn't like getting detected at the very end ruined it, or the alarm went off and technically wasn't stealth or anything like that.
Body bag case right here.
For all intents and purposes, I had this completed and was able to move all the money bags, and was in fact able, would have been able to get all the gold in stealth. It's just for whatever reason the escape wasn't triggering. So, and I also wanted to kind of showcase the funny little glitch I had found. I was messaging my friend right here, saying like, have you ever heard of Election Day having this kind of glitch or something like that? And he was like, no, I don't think I've ever heard of that, which is why my cursor was on screen there for a moment. Needless to say, I was extremely bewildered.
Look out. Camera.
Decided to search out here for some extra crates just to see if possibly hacking another machine could fix my issue. That's what I was hoping it was going to be an easy fix. Figured it was pretty safe to put my bags there since I'd cleaned out the two blue cops from before, and had taken out 4 guards at this point already, most of whom were already patrolling outside. So,
Watch out.
or one of whom was patrolling out. No, one was patrolling outside, then came in, and the other one I got caught as he was patrolling outside. I just felt like it'd be pretty safe to put it there anyway, and I wasn't too terribly concerned about the run ending at this point, because I was just kind of confused as to why it wasn't ending for me quite yet. Ultimately, the cruelest part about all of this was the fact that I didn't get the satisfaction of putting the gold in and being able to escape. It's quite saddening. But I was pretty happy with how the run went elsewise. Although both my yacht heist and my election day had kind of some really wonky things happen in them. In my yacht heist, there was the detection / not detection that I talked about briefly, which has happened on several occasions. I'm just not sure what causes that. And then this glitch, which I've never seen before. I've never heard of. I mean, I've heard of this game soft locking, like I know on like Cook Off or Rats, for example. If you're on one of the higher difficulties where when the meth lab explodes, the escape van actually won't come anymore because like the entire map will be on fire. But if a player has Messiah, they can revive themselves and can potentially revive the other team, except it soft locks the game because you can't, you just can't continue the mission and you have to quit out to the main menu or restart the heist or whatever. Which is essentially what happened here. I just wasn't quite sure what triggered it in the first place. So yeah. So at this point I pretty much moved all my money bags and I was just kind of throwing my hands in the air like, what the heck, man? So I do end up going back in and looking for these last few crates to see if I could maybe kind of coerce the objective into continuing if I triggered all of the voting machines. Again, I'm sure I'm messaging my friend right here as I just pause awkwardly in the middle of the chain link fence. I really try not to do that in my videos. I know it's happened in the past few quite a bit, but I try to go into offline mode now whenever I record a video so that I'm not getting messages constantly. However, I had to tell him about this as it was going on because I was just like, I don't understand what's happening right now. Sadly, however, he didn't have any insight for me. Found another machine. Came out here and started sitting in the hopes that this one going off, of course, would trigger the escape, and unsurprisingly, it didn't. Still really hopeful, though.
Look out, guard. Watch out, guard. Guard, careful. Drop your gun!
Yeah, stay cool, man.
I just decided to go ahead and bail at this point. And by bail, I mean just run to the escape to no avail. Or run to what should be the escape at no avail. So, like I said, I would have had this. I had all the money back secured. I had all the things hacked that I needed to, and I was at the escape, ready to go on several different occasions. But for whatever reason, I don't know, the game just soft-locked on me. So there was my really weird, glitchy, sort of all-loot run for Election Day. Thank you guys so much for watching.